Ladies and gentlemen, we often hear the phrase, small changes, big results. But how often do we take a moment to reflect on what those small changes could look like, and more importantly, how they can transform the trajectory of our lives? The truth is, we don't need to make grand, sweeping changes to see profound improvements. Small, consistent habits can have a powerful compounding effect, quietly shaping our future in ways we might never expect. Today, I want to share with you 10 simple habits that, when practiced consistently, can change your life in ways that are not only measurable but truly meaningful. These habits aren't about drastic transformations overnight. They're about daily decisions that over time make you a better version of yourself. Have you ever woken up and instantly felt the weight of the day pressing down on you? Maybe your mind races with the tasks ahead, the meetings, the emails, the commitments, the endless to-do list. It's easy in those first moments to get swept up by the pressure. The demands of the day can feel overwhelming, and the world outside seems to pull us in 100 different directions. But here's something important to consider. The way we begin our day often shapes how we experience it. The first few moments after waking up are more than just the beginning of the day. They're a powerful window of opportunity. How we choose to fill those moments has the ability to set the tone for everything that follows. And there's one habit that can change everything: gratitude. Gratitude may seem simple, almost too simple, but its power is undeniable. When you take just a few seconds each morning to reflect on what you are grateful for, something extraordinary happens. You begin to reframe the entire day. Instead of starting with stress or worry, you begin with appreciation and positivity. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by what needs to get done, you feel a deep sense of contentment and purpose. Imagine waking up and taking a moment to acknowledge 3 things you are thankful for. It doesn't matter how big or small those things are. Maybe it's the warmth of the sun on your face, the love of your family, the opportunity to pursue your dreams, or even something as simple as a warm cup of coffee. The act of pausing to appreciate these moments of goodness has a profound impact on your mind and your body. Research shows that people who practice gratitude regularly tend to experience significant improvements in their overall well-being. Studies have found that gratitude helps reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even improve sleep quality. More than that, it strengthens our relationships, fostering a sense of connection and empathy with others. And perhaps most importantly, it has a powerful effect on our mindset. When we focus on the positive, it becomes easier to navigate challenges and setbacks with resilience. Now think about this for a moment. How different would your day be if you woke up every morning with a sense of gratitude? Imagine starting each day not with anxiety about what's ahead, but with a mindset that's grounded in appreciation. That shift from a place of stress to a place of thankfulness can be immediate. It's not just about acknowledging the good, it's about recognizing that there is good, even on the most difficult of days. The beauty of this practice is that it doesn't require a dramatic overhaul of your life. It's something you can start doing today, right now, with minimal effort. Simply pause before you rise, take a deep breath, and reflect on the things in your life that are worth appreciating. It might feel small at first, but the impact it has on your mindset is anything but small. Over time, you'll notice a shift not just in your mornings, but in the way you approach challenges, relationships, and even success. You'll find that instead of constantly looking for the next problem to solve, you're becoming someone who seeks solutions with clarity and gratitude. There is power in starting your day with gratitude, and it's a power that compounds over time. It's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about building a foundation of well-being that carries you through each day with strength, focus, and an ability to thrive even when things don't go as planned. When you commit to this simple act of gratitude each morning, you're not just changing the way you start your day, you're changing the way you experience your life. This is the beauty of small habits. We often believe that transformation requires huge, dramatic shifts, but the truth is the smallest adjustments, like starting your day with gratitude, can create ripples that lead to profound, lasting change. So the next time your alarm goes off and you're tempted to hit snooze or dive straight into your to-do list, take a moment, pause, reflect, appreciate. It may only be a few seconds, but in those seconds, you'll set the stage for a day and a life that's filled with more joy, resilience, and peace. We live in a world that demands a lot from us. There's always something that needs our attention, something that needs to be done. And it's easy to think that in order to truly take care of our bodies, we need to spend hours in a gym or commit to an intense workout routine. But here's the truth that too many of us overlook. It's not about how long you exercise. It's about how consistently you move your body. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I don't have the time for a workout today? We all have busy lives, and sometimes even the thought of finding an hour to hit the gym can feel impossible. But here's the breakthrough moment. What if you didn't need an hour? What if just 10 minutes could make all the difference? The reality is you don't have to commit hours every day to feel the benefits of exercise. In fact, even small bursts of physical activity, just 10 minutes, can have a profound impact on your mental and physical health. The science is clear. Even brief moments of exercise release endorphins. Those feel good chemicals that elevate our mood and improve our focus. Consider this. I know a successful entrepreneur who runs for just 10 minutes each morning. It's not about getting in shape. It's about clearing his mind, gaining clarity, and preparing himself mentally for the day ahead. That short 10-minute run is his time to reset, to push aside distractions, and to focus his energy on what really matters. By the time he's done, he feels energized, confident, and ready to take on whatever the day throws at him. Imagine that. Just 10 minutes, that's all it takes to start your day with a sense of mental toughness, to increase your energy levels, and to boost your focus. It's not about how long you exercise, but about showing up for yourself every single day. These small, consistent moments of exercise compound over time, transforming not just your body, but your mindset. What happens when you commit to a few minutes of physical activity daily is not just about getting fitter. It's about creating a habit of prioritizing yourself, your well-being, and your future. Exercise doesn't have to be daunting or complicated. It doesn't require fancy equipment or a gym membership. It could be a brisk walk outside, a few yoga stretches in your living room, or a short jog around the block. The key is consistency. If you commit to those 10 minutes, you're not only boosting your physical health, you're also training your mind to stay focused, resilient, and disciplined. When you exercise even for just a short time, you're setting an intention. You're telling yourself, I matter enough to take this time for me. And let me tell you, that kind of self-respect and self-discipline has a ripple effect. When you make that small commitment to yourself, you begin to build trust in your ability to follow through. You prove to yourself that you're capable of making positive choices for your health, and that confidence spills over into other areas of your life. It's not just about exercise, it's about the mindset you cultivate when you choose to prioritize your well-being. For many of us, the hardest part is getting started. We convince ourselves that if we don't have a full hour or a perfect routine, it's not worth it. But I promise you, that's the trap. You don't need perfection, you need action. You need consistency, and by starting small, you're laying the foundation for bigger changes down the road. So today, start small. Don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect workout routine. Take 10 minutes to move your body, just 10 minutes. It might be a quick walk around the block or a short stretch, but do it with intention. Do it knowing that you're doing something powerful for your body and mind. And in those 10 minutes, you'll feel the shift. You'll feel the energy. You'll feel the clarity. You'll feel the power of taking care of yourself. The truth is, those small moments, those small decisions to show up for yourself are the ones that matter most. Over time, they compound and you begin to see results you never thought possible. It's not about the big moments, it's about the small ones, the ones we sometimes overlook. So start today, start small. Your body will thank you and your mind will too. We often think that success or progress happens in the big moments, the major decisions, the grand achievements, the defining moments that stand out as turning points in our lives. But what if I told you that it's the small, seemingly insignificant moments, the ones we often overlook, that have the greatest impact on our daily lives and our ultimate success? One of the simplest yet most powerful habits you can develop is making your bed every morning. Yes, making your bed. It may seem trivial, even unnecessary, but here's the thing, it's not just about making your bed. It's about something far deeper, about discipline, about setting the tone for your day, and about making a commitment to yourself, even in the smallest way, that you will show up and take control of the things that matter, no matter how small they may seem. Think about it for a moment. When you wake up, the world is still quiet. The day is full of potential, but it's also full of uncertainty, distractions, and the overwhelming weight of what's to come. The first decision you make, even before you get out of bed, sets the stage for everything that follows. When you make your bed, it's one small victory. It's an act of discipline, an act of control. You've completed something, however minor, before you've even taken your first step into the world outside. And that sense of accomplishment, however small it may seem, stays with you throughout the day. This habit, simple as it may be, starts a ripple effect. It's not just about having a neat bed, it's about creating a sense of order in your life. It's about setting a tone for the day that says, I am in control. There's something incredibly powerful about taking a small action that makes you feel like you've already succeeded before the day even begins. It's like telling yourself, I've got this. Today I am going to be organized. Today I am going to stay disciplined. Today I am in control. Admiral William H. McRaven, a Navy SEAL, once shared that making your bed every morning is the first step toward changing the world. At first glance, that might sound like a stretch. After all, how can such a small act have any real significance in the grand scheme of things? But when you understand the deeper meaning behind it, it makes perfect sense. McRaven explained that making your bed is the first task of the day, one that you can complete with pride. It's an act of discipline. And discipline, in its simplest form, is about building the ability to do the things that matter, even when they seem small or insignificant. Making your bed might seem like an easy task, but in reality, it's about building the foundation for greater things. It's about consistency, about following through with a commitment, no matter how minor the task may appear. When you develop this habit, you start to see the value of small victories. You start to recognize that success doesn't always come in big bursts. It often comes through the accumulation of small wins that build momentum. And each small victory, like making your bed, propels you toward the next. It's also about creating an environment that fosters positivity and focus. And think about how you feel when you come home to a tidy room. It's calming, it's peaceful. It's a reminder that you have control, that your environment reflects your efforts, and that you are capable of maintaining order amidst the chaos of life. That sense of control and clarity becomes a touchstone throughout the day, especially when things get tough or overwhelming. The act of making your bed may seem insignificant, but it has a profound effect on how you approach the rest of your day. It's a symbol of discipline, of consistency, and of control. It's the small commitment to yourself that sets the tone for everything else that follows. And in the grand scheme of life, it's the accumulation of these small moments, these small choices that define the trajectory of your future. So the next time you wake up in the morning, take a moment to make your bed. It's not just about the bed. It's about cultivating a mindset that values small actions, that finds power in the simple tasks, and that understands the importance of starting each day with a sense of accomplishment. It's the first step to taking control, to being disciplined, and to setting the stage for greater victories that will come with each passing day. Make your bed. Take the first step. You'll be surprised by how much it changes everything. In today's fast-paced world, it's all too easy to rush through life without truly experiencing it. We're constantly on the go, juggling work, family, and a million other responsibilities. And when it comes to eating, it's no different. We grab a quick bite here, a snack there, often while multitasking, checking emails, scrolling through social media, or preparing for the next task on our to-do list. We eat quickly without thinking, without even fully tasting or appreciating the food in front of us. But what if we chose to pause just for a moment and make eating something intentional, something meaningful? Imagine this. What if we dedicated just 20 minutes of our day to sit down fully present and savor our meals? What if we took the time to appreciate the nourishment that food provides, not just for our bodies, but for our souls? It may seem like a small change, but the impact it can have on our health, mindset, and overall well-being is profound. Mindful eating is not just about eating slower or in a more relaxed environment. It's about reconnecting with our bodies, taking the time to notice how food makes us feel, and truly appreciating the experience of eating. When we eat mindfully, we are fully present in the moment. We notice the textures, the flavors, the aromas of the food. We become aware of our hunger cues and learn to listen to our bodies instead of simply eating out of habit or to fill a void. We stop seeing food as just fuel or a task to be completed, and instead we see it as a source of nourishment, something that brings us joy and sustenance. This practice is good for more than just your physical health. It's also good for your mental and emotional well-being. In a world that often encourages us to rush through everything, taking the time to eat mindfully allows us to slow down, to connect with ourselves, and to create a moment of peace in our busy lives. It becomes an act of self-care, an opportunity to show ourselves love and respect. It's about being kind to your body, about recognizing that the food you eat is not just something you consume, but something that can nourish you on a deeper level. Research has shown that mindful eating has numerous benefits. People who eat mindfully are more likely to maintain a healthy weight because they are more in tune with their bodies and their hunger signals. They are less likely to overeat, and they develop a better relationship with food. This doesn't mean that every meal has to be perfect or that you need to avoid all indulgences. It simply means that you become more conscious of your choices, and that makes all the difference. You start to realize when you've had enough, and you begin to honor your body's needs rather than simply eating out of habit or stress. Mindful eating also encourages us to be more present in our lives. When we take a moment to truly appreciate our food, we stop the cycle of rushing and multitasking. We create space for ourselves to breathe, to enjoy the moment, and to connect with what really matters. In a world that constantly pulls us in a million directions, this act of slowing down can be incredibly grounding. It's a reminder that we don't always need to be in a hurry, that we can take the time to nourish ourselves, both physically and mentally. Eating mindfully doesn't require a complete overhaul of your routine. It's about making small changes, starting with simply being more aware of your food. It's about setting aside to eat without distractions, no phone, no TV, no work. It's about taking a deep breath before you take that first bite and acknowledging the food in front of you. It's about savoring each bite, being present with the experience, and recognizing the value of what you're putting into your body. In a world that encourages us to keep moving faster and faster, mindful eating is a reminder to slow down, to reconnect with ourselves, and to appreciate the simple act of nourishment. It's a practice that allows us to enjoy our food, to take care of our bodies, and to find joy in the present moment. So the next time you sit down to eat, might pause for a moment, breathe, appreciate. And remember, it's not just about the food, it's about the experience of nourishing yourself, body and soul. We often hear the phrase, knowledge is power, but too many of us forget to consider how we actively feed our minds. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with distractions, it's easy to overlook the impact that the information we consume has on our lives. We spend hours scrolling through social media, checking emails, and keeping up with the daily news cycle. But what if we devoted just a small part of our day to something that could truly change the course of our lives? What if we dedicated just 15 minutes each day to reading? At first glance, 15 minutes might seem insignificant. It's just a small sliver of time in the grand scheme of things, but here's the thing, over the course of the year, 15 minutes of reading every single day adds up to more than 90 hours. Think about it, minus 90 hours of knowledge, wisdom, and new perspectives. That's the equivalent of more than a full week of concentrated learning year after year. And in those 90 hours, you have the opportunity to shift your mindset, deepen your understanding, and expand your horizons. The most successful people in the world, whether they're leaders, entrepreneurs, creators, or innovators, understand the value of investing in their minds. They don't have some secret formula for success. They are simply committed to growth, to learning, to becoming better each day. And one of the most consistent habits they share is that they read books, articles, essays, stories, and anything that broadens their thinking. They know that reading isn't just about gaining information. It's about opening their minds to new possibilities, new ideas, and new ways of thinking. When I first started reading daily, I was surprised by the shift it created in my life. It wasn't about reading more for the sake of reading, it was about the change that occurred within me. As I made the habit of reading each day, I began to see a change in my ability to problem solve. I started to think differently, to view challenges as opportunities, to ask better questions. The more I read, the more I was able to engage in deeper conversations, to communicate more clearly, and to understand complex ideas more easily. Small doses of information consumed consistently eventually lead to bigger insights and greater capabilities. And it's not just about reading to learn in the traditional sense, it's also about reading to stretch your imagination, to stimulate creativity, to see the world through someone else's seat. Books are windows into different lives, experiences, and ideas. They introduce us to cultures, philosophies, and ways of thinking that we might never have encountered otherwise. By exposing yourself to a variety of ideas and viewpoints, you begin to think more critically and more creatively. You start to approach problems from different angles and your perspective shifts. What was once a barrier becomes a challenge you are equipped to overcome. Many of us claim that we don't have the time to read. Life is busy, and we're all juggling a million responsibilities. But the reality is that we all have 15 minutes in our day. We spend more time than that waiting for our coffee, scrolling through social media, or watching television. Imagine how much more impactful those 15 minutes could be if they were dedicated to personal growth, to expanding your knowledge and understanding of the world. The beauty of reading is that you don't have to start with hours at a time, you just need to start. The more you commit to reading, the more it becomes a habit, and the more you'll start to see the benefits. Reading daily is a simple act, but its impact is powerful. It shapes your thinking, sharpens your mind, and helps you grow in ways that are often hard to measure but profoundly transformative, Treme. It's the small daily habit that compounds over time, just like every other small choice we make. And what's exciting is that you can choose what you feed your mind. Whether it's a book that inspires you, a story that challenges you, or an article that educates you, each piece of reading adds to the foundation of who you are and who you can become. So today, take a step towards changing your life. Dedicate just 15 minutes to reading. Start small, but start today. The knowledge, the wisdom, the insights you'll gain in those minutes will build over time, leading you to a future full of greater clarity, confidence, and capabilities. Every day, every page, every minute matters, and before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. We all face challenges in life. It's inevitable. The road is rarely smooth, and no matter how hard we try, obstacles will come our way. Some may seem insurmountable, some may catch us off guard, and some might make us feel as if the universe is working against us. But here's a truth that many of us overlook. It's not the challenges that define us, it's how we respond to them. It's how we take ownership of our actions, especially when it's difficult, that truly shapes the course of our lives. Taking responsibility for our actions is one of the most powerful habits we can develop. It might sound simple, but it's incredibly transformative. It's about owning our mistakes, our choices, and the way we respond to life, regardless of the circumstances. It's easy to blame others when things go wrong, whether it's our boss, a coworker, the economy, or bad luck. But here's the thing, when we blame, we give up control. We surrender our power to change the situation and to learn from it. Taking responsibility is about reclaiming that power. It's about recognizing that we are the architects of our own lives. This doesn't mean that we should take the blame for everything, nor does it mean that we should feel guilty or shameful about the challenges we face. Taking responsibility is about being honest with ourselves. It's about understanding that even though we may not control everything that happens to us, we always have control over how we respond. We get to choose how we show up, how we think, and how we act. And when we take responsibility, we open ourselves up to the possibility of growth and transformation. I know a woman who faced a difficult situation at work. She had a boss who was hard to work with, coworkers who didn't seem to care, and a project that was constantly being delayed. Many people in her shoes would have blamed everyone around her, the boss for being difficult, the coworkers for not supporting her, or the circumstances for making her job impossible. But instead of pointing fingers, she took full responsibility for her own actions. She realized that she couldn't control the behavior of others, but she could control how she responded. She stopped waiting for things to change and started taking proactive steps. She began to communicate more effectively, sought solutions rather than dwelling on problems, and kept her focus on what she could do rather than what she couldn't. Over time, her attitude changed. She went from feeling stuck and frustrated to feeling empowered and in control. She took ownership of her work and her relationships, and as a result, her professional life began to improve. Her boss noticed her shift in approach and started to give her more opportunities. Her coworkers, seeing her proactive attitude, started to offer support. What had once felt like a dead-end job became a place where new opportunities began to unfold. She realized that by taking responsibility for her actions rather than blaming others, she had unlocked a new path forward. The difference between those who thrive in the face of adversity and those who remain stuck often comes down to this one habit: taking responsibility. It's not about being perfect, it's about being honest and showing up fully regardless of the circumstances. When we take responsibility, we stop playing the victim. We stop waiting for someone or something to fix our problems. Instead, we take ownership of our lives and start making intentional choices that move us closer to our goals. In every situation, there are always things we can control, no matter how small they may seem. Taking responsibility is about recognizing those things and using them to create the change we want to see. It's about understanding that life isn't always going to be fair, but we can choose to rise above it. It's about seeing obstacles not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. And even when we make mistakes, which we all will, it's about owning them, learning from them, and using them as stepping stones to move forward. So the next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, how can I take responsibility for my actions in this situation? How can I change my approach, my mindset, or my response to create a better outcome? Because when we take responsibility for our actions, we empower ourselves to create the life we want, regardless of the obstacles that come our way. We become the architects of our own lives, capable of building something stronger, something greater with every choice we make. We often hear about the pursuit of perfection. It's ingrained in our culture. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, we are told that we need to do everything flawlessly, whether it's in our work, our relationships, or our personal goals. We are led to believe that perfection is the goal. But here's the truth: perfection is a myth. It doesn't exist, and the pursuit of it can be one of the most paralyzing things we can do to ourselves. Progress, however, is real. Growth is real. And consistency, the simple act of showing up day after day, no matter what, is what leads us to that progress. It's not about being perfect. It's not about executing every task flawlessly or making every decision with precision. It's about doing the work. It's about showing up and doing your best, even when the results aren't immediate or perfect. That is what makes the difference. I know of an athlete who spent years training for a marathon. Every day she put in the work, even when it was hard, even when she was tired, and even when progress felt slow. There were days she missed her target time, days when she wanted to quit, and days when the weather made it almost impossible to train. But she kept going. She didn't aim for perfection. She aimed for consistency. And with each run, with each day of training, she made incremental progress. And those small, consistent steps added up to a breakthrough. She completed the marathon, not perfectly, but with a sense of accomplishment and strength that only comes from consistent effort. Think about it in your own life, whether you're trying to build a business, learn a new skill, or improve your health. How often do we hold ourselves back, thinking we need everything to be perfect before we start? Or we stop because we make one mistake or things don't go as planned, but it's not perfection that leads to success. It's showing up consistently. It's the person who writes a page every day, even if it's not the best page they've ever written. It's the person who goes for a walk every morning, even if they don't feel like running a marathon. It's the person who makes time to nurture relationships, even if they don't always know the right thing to say. The most successful people aren't the ones who have it all together or get everything right. They are the ones who keep going. They are the ones who keep putting in the effort, despite setbacks, despite failures, despite the days when they feel discouraged. They know that momentum is built through consistency, not perfection. And momentum is what leads to breakthroughs. The more we show up, even imperfectly, the more we build momentum. And the more we build momentum, the more likely we are to experience the breakthroughs we're looking for. Consistency doesn't mean that every day will be perfect. It doesn't mean that we won't face challenges or make mistakes along the way. But it does mean that we commit to showing up anyway. It means we accept that progress isn't linear. Some days will be better than others, and some days we'll feel like we've taken a step back. But that's okay. Consistency is about committing to the process, trusting that the small steps will add up, and knowing that the work you put in today will eventually pay off. And think about your own journey. How many times have you held back because you felt that the task at hand wasn't going to be perfect? How often do we talk ourselves out of trying something new because we feel like we need everything in place before we begin? The truth is, perfection will never come, and if we wait for it, we may never move forward at all. But consistency, that's something we can control. It's something that will move us forward day after day, one small step at a time. So let go of the idea that everything has to be perfect. Let go of the belief that every step you take has to be flawless. Instead, commit to showing up. Commit to taking that next step, no matter how small. Commit to the process of growth, even when it feels slow or imperfect, because it's not perfection that gets you where you want to go, it's consistency. And in the end, consistency is what leads to real progress. We are all living in a time when we are more connected than ever. Technology allows us to communicate with people across the globe in an instant. And yet, despite all this connectivity, something is missing. We live in a world where it's easy to feel isolated, where the digital noise sometimes drowns out real human connection. But what if the simple act of reaching out, of connecting with someone every single day, could be the key to not just a better life, but a healthier, more fulfilling one? Human connection is not just a luxury, it's at the heart of everything. It's at the core of our well-being, our happiness, and our sense of purpose. We all know the feeling of being seen, being heard, and being understood by another person. That connection, even in its smallest form, can change the trajectory of our day, our mood, and sometimes even our life. It doesn't have to be a deep conversation or a long heart-to-heart. It could be as simple as sending a text to check in with a friend, giving someone a quick call just to ask how they're doing, or having a conversation with a colleague you haven't spoken to in a while. These small acts of connection, when done consistently, create something powerful, a network of relationships that nourish us and keep us grounded. Then think about it. When was the last time you reached out to someone just to say, hey, how's your day going? Or perhaps it was a quick message to tell someone that you were thinking about them. These little moments of connection often seem insignificant, yet they have the power to strengthen bonds and enrich our lives in ways we often overlook. And here's the thing, these connections aren't just about making someone else's day better, they make yours better too. The more you reach out, the more you build a sense of community, and the more you create a space where you feel supported, valued, and connected to others. The science is clear. Strong social connections are linked to a longer, healthier life. Studies show that people with meaningful relationships tend to live longer, experience less stress, and have lower risks of mental health issues. In fact, having a sense of community can be just as important to our well-being as eating well and exercising. And yet, despite knowing this, many of us don't prioritize making those connections. We get busy. We get caught up in the day-to-day hustle, thinking that we don't have time to reach out to others. But here's the thing, you don't need hours to make a meaningful connection. You don't need to have a deep, life-altering conversation to make a difference. Sometimes it's just about showing up and showing that you care. A quick check-in, a thoughtful message, or simply asking someone how they're doing can make all the difference. In the grand scheme of life, these small moments of connection build up over time. They create a sense of trust and camaraderie. They foster a culture of care and support. And while they may seem insignificant in the moment, they have a lasting impact. A single message can brighten someone's day. A single phone call can remind someone that they're not alone. And a simple "how's it going?" can spark a conversation that strengthens your bond, even if it's only for a few minutes. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of our lives, but by making a habit of connecting with someone every day, we create a life that is richer in relationships and more rooted in human connection. And those connections don't just improve our mental health, they improve our physical health too. They help us cope with stress, increase our happiness, and give us a sense of belonging. In a world that often feels disconnected, we have the power to change that one small gesture at a time. So think about how you can make connection a daily habit. Whether it's a text, a phone call, or a face-to-face conversation, make it a priority to reach out. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to take long. But over time, these small acts of kindness and connection will strengthen your relationships and transform your life. In a world that often feels disconnected, you have the power to change that for yourself and for others, one connection at a time. At the end of each day, we have a choice. We can rush through the evening, distracted by everything we need to do before we sleep, or we can take a few moments to reflect. This simple habit, one that often gets overlooked in our busy lives, can have a profound impact on our growth and clarity. It's the quiet time at the end of the day when we can pause, think, and learn from the moments that came before. And here's the thing, reflection isn't about judging ourselves or dwelling on what went wrong. It's about looking back with intention, gaining insights, and preparing ourselves to move forward with greater awareness and purpose. The truth is, we all have days where things don't go as planned, where we feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or defeated. But if we rush through those moments without taking the time to reflect, we miss an opportunity for growth. Reflection isn't about beating ourselves up or focusing on the negative. It's about asking the simple yet powerful questions. What went well today? What could I have done better? What did I learn from this experience? In just a few minutes, we can begin to identify patterns, see where we've made progress, and recognize areas for improvement. And over time, this practice doesn't just help us improve, it transforms how we approach life. I know someone who has made it a habit to reflect each night before bed. Every evening, they take 5 to 10 minutes to jot down their thoughts in a small notebook they keep by their bedside. It's nothing elaborate, just a few sentences, a quick summary of the day. But the act of doing this day after day has brought them a level of clarity that they didn't have before. With each entry, they notice patterns in their thinking and behavior. They recognize what made them happy, what caused stress, and what they can do differently tomorrow. The small practices become an anchor in their life, giving them a sense of control and direction. Reflection isn't only about identifying mistakes. In fact, it's just as much about celebrating the wins, no matter how small they may seem. It's easy to focus on what went wrong or what we didn't accomplish, but taking the time to acknowledge what went well can shift our perspective. Maybe you handled a tough situation with grace. Maybe you made a decision that aligned with your values, Or maybe you simply showed up when it felt hard to do so. These moments of success, even if they don't feel monumental, are worth reflecting on because they fuel our confidence and remind us of what we're capable of. As we reflect, we also gain clarity about our goals. We begin to see what's working and what's not, and that insight helps us adjust course. We start to see our lives not as a series of random events, but as a series of steps that are leading us somewhere. Each day is a small piece of the larger puzzle, and through reflection, we begin to understand how the pieces fit together. We learn from our mistakes and successes alike, and with each reflection, we grow closer to becoming the person we want to be and achieving the things we want to accomplish. There's another layer to reflection as well. It's about our sense of purpose and connection to what truly matters. When we pause at the end of the day, we have a chance to reconnect with our values and priorities. We can ask ourselves if our actions align with what we care about, and if not, we can course correct. We can look at the relationships we nurtured, the moments of kindness we shared, or the opportunities we created for ourselves. These reflections keep us grounded in what truly matters, helping us navigate the noise and distractions that surround us. So take that time each night, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can spare. Ask yourself, what went well today? What can I have done better? What did I learn? It's a simple act, but one that holds enormous power. It allows you to reflect, adapt, and move forward with intention. It's a way to create clarity out of chaos, to make sense of the day, and to set the stage for tomorrow. And over time, this practice will become an essential part of who you are, a tool for continuous growth, self-awareness, and progress. Reflection may be a quiet act, but its impact can be profound. And in that stillness, you'll find the strength and clarity to keep moving forward, no matter what the day brings. In today's world, we are conditioned to expect quick results. We have instant access to information. We can order food with a click, and we can even get next day delivery on almost anything we want. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that everything should happen immediately. But here's a simple truth that many of us overlook. Real success doesn't come quickly. It doesn't come in the form of instant rewards or fast returns. True success takes time, patience, and a lot of perseverance. It takes embracing the journey, the entire process with all of its highs and lows. We often forget that the most meaningful accomplishments in life are not about the destination, but about the path we take to get there. Success is not a single event. It's the result of years of hard work, mistakes, lessons, and growth. The journey isn't always linear. It's full of unexpected twists and turns, setbacks, and breakthroughs. And yet, it's these very challenges that shape us, mold us, and ultimately prepare us for the success we're striving for. But if we're too focused on the outcome, too obsessed with immediate results, we miss the richness of the journey itself. And think about the way a plant grows. If you were to sit and stare at it, you wouldn't see it growing every day. You wouldn't see the small changes happening beneath the surface. But over time, with consistent care, watering, providing sunlight, and giving it the right environment, the plant flourishes. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience and consistent effort. And while you may not see the immediate results of your work every single day, the plant is still growing. It's the same with your efforts. You may not see the fruits of your labor right away. You may not feel the progress you're making from one day to the next, but with patience, with consistent effort, the results will come. And when they do, they'll be far more fulfilling than anything you could have achieved with haste. This is a habit of trust that the work you are doing, even when it feels like it's not yielding results, is still contributing to something larger. It's about understanding that the progress is happening beneath the surface, even when you can't see it. How many times have you felt frustrated by a lack of immediate progress? How many times have you doubted your path because the rewards aren't coming fast enough? It's in those moments when you feel like nothing is happening that the real work is taking place. It's the accumulation of small efforts day after day that will ultimately create the momentum needed for breakthrough moments. Take a moment and think of someone you admire, someone who has achieved success in their field. If you were to ask them about their journey, they would likely tell you that it wasn't a smooth ride. Well, it wasn't all fast wins and instant gratification. They too faced the setbacks, the failures, and the times when it seemed like nothing was progressing. But they stayed committed to the process. They kept showing up, they kept working hard, and they kept believing that their efforts would compound over time. Their success didn't happen because they rushed through the journey. It happened because they embraced it fully with patience and perseverance. One of the biggest challenges we face is learning to be patient with ourselves. We live in a world where we are constantly told to do more, to achieve faster, to get results now. But true growth doesn't work like that. It takes time, it takes persistence, and it takes accepting that the process is as important as the destination. When we learn to embrace that, when we stop rushing and start enjoying the journey, we unlock a power within ourselves that goes beyond just achieving a goal. We unlock the ability to truly grow, to evolve, and to find fulfillment in the work itself. So the next time you feel like things aren't moving fast enough, remember this: just like a plant doesn't grow in a day, neither does your success. The work you're putting in, the effort you're making, is all building something meaningful. Trust the process, be patient, embrace the ups and the downs. The journey is just as important as the destination, and it's in that journey that you'll find the true value of what you're working toward. It may not always be easy and it may not always be fast, but if you stay committed and keep moving forward with patience, the results will come often when you least expect them. The truth is, we often overlook the smallest habits. We look for grand gestures, for big breakthroughs, believing that change only happens in dramatic moments. But if we really think about it, the most significant changes in our lives often happen quietly, over time, through small and consistent actions. These habits, though they may seem minor, are the foundation of everything. They have the power to shape our character, influence our decisions, and ultimately transform our lives in ways we can't always predict. It's easy to feel like the big moments, the grand successes, are what define us. The launch of a business, the achievement of a long-held goal, the recognition for hard work, these are the moments we celebrate. But here's the reality: most of those big moments are the result of hundreds, sometimes thousands, of small decisions and actions that came before them. The days when we felt too tired to keep going, but we did anyway. The mornings when we woke up early to do something that mattered, even when no one was watching. The moments when we chose to keep learning, keep trying, keep growing, even when we didn't see immediate results. All of these small choices add up, they compound, and eventually they create a life that's built on the foundation of consistent, everyday habits. You don't need to overhaul your entire life today to start seeing change. In fact, trying to do so often leads to burnout. Instead, it's about focusing on one habit, just one, and sticking to it. It might be something as simple as starting your day with gratitude or taking a few minutes to reflect each night. It might be dedicating just 10 minutes a day to exercise or choosing to make more meaningful connections with the people around you. The key is to start small. And when you do, you'll notice how each little habit starts to affect the rest of your life. You'll feel more energized. You'll feel more in control. You'll feel more connected to the people around you and more aligned with your goals. And you'll realize that these habits, these small, consistent actions, are creating a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. I've seen it happen in my own life, and I've seen it in others. A friend of mine started a habit of reading just 10 minutes a day. Over the course of a year, those 10 minutes added up to hours of learning, growth, and new growth. Another person I know made a habit of sending one text a day to check in on someone they care about. That simple gesture grew into stronger, more meaningful relationships. And these are just small examples of what happens when we make room for consistency in our lives. But here's the thing: the power isn't in the habit itself. The power is in your ability to show up day after day, to stick with it even when it feels like nothing is changing. You won't see the results right away. Sometimes you might even doubt whether it's worth it. But in time, those small habits will lead to something bigger. The life you want is built on the small, everyday choices you make. The life you're striving for, whether it's a life of peace, success, or fulfillment, is within your reach. It's just waiting for you to take that first step. So choose one habit, one simple, small habit. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you start. And once you begin, build on it, step by step, day by day. In time, you'll realize that these small actions have been shaping your life in ways you never thought possible. The transformation doesn't come in one giant leap. It comes in the consistent, sometimes unnoticeable habits that you build each day. It's the power of small habits. And when you begin to embrace that power, you'll see that the life you desire is not as far off as it seems. It's within you right now. You just have to start. Thank you.